Today we're discussing Happy Wife by Meredith Lavender and Kendall Shores. Yay. And I got some last minute Zoom requests like 1 minute ago.
Hmm,
So
awesome.
fun.
So fun. Happy
Hi,
faces.
everyone.
Hi.
There we go. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We get two authors today, Kendall and Meredith. Uh,
Hi.
we might get some stragglers that join us late, so we'll just pop them back on. And we have a couple that are in listening mode today because they are dealing with their children's after school activities.
Know how that
We are
goes.
those people sometimes. We love those
Yes.
people.
We celebrate those people.
Yes, I
Yes.
got a couple messages. Don't call on me. I'm on listening mode today. So,
Well, I'm just going to apologize. I know, Michelle, I already apologized to you. Meredith and I have been in Orlando all week promoting the book, and I'm still in Orlando. So there's a little bit of music in the hotel hallway that I found that is abandoned, but also, like bumping with club music. So if you hear the music in the background, I just wanted to make it a little festive. Hopefully, it's not too distracting.
no. I mean, I don't hear it at all.
That's my favorite thing.
Um, First, before we get everyone to sort of introduce themselves, for those of you who are new, we like to keep this as an open forum. We're obviously going to talk to Kendall and Meredith, but if anybody has any questions or wants to chime in with a comment, just like flag us down or put it in the chat if you're embarrassed to speak out loud, and I'll ask for you. So Kendall and Meredith, can you tell us a little bit about yourselves? I know this is your first book.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. Kendall, do you want to go first?
I will kick us off. I was born and raised in Winter Park, Florida. I actually rode on the crew team in high school with the geriatric millennial that you see on the screens in the Packer uniform. So, Laura, hi, I love you. um, so, I grew up in Winter Park and has always been motivated by just how beautiful it is and how kind of idyllic the lakes are and how a little bit haunted Florida can feel with that wilderness always kind of looming over you or creeping into the spaces. And I always wanted to write. I started handwriting novels when I was a kid, and I thought that was a really embarrassing thing about myself. And I thought that I should keep that kind of to myself until I was good enough to share it with anyone. So I went to college, studied communications, professional writing, and rhetoric. And then I graduated and started pursuing jobs that felt as close to writing as I could get. So I worked for the Orlando Science Center here in Orlando. I worked for a pediatric healthcare system called Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, leading their internal communications. And then I worked for a tech company called MailChimp. And all of those roles afforded me the opportunity to do things that, like I said, felt a little bit creative, but were at the end of the day very strategic and very business led. And I kept writing in secret. And so one day I am taking my first grade daughter to back to school night in Atlanta. And Atlanta is beautiful, but there are a lot of rules about like which trees can be cut down. Like you've got to get a petition. The trees are very protected here. And so in Atlanta. And so there are these really beautiful parks, and our school happens to be really close to a park. And one of my observations about parks is that when schools are located by them in like kind of older homes that have been converted into school buildings, there's not really a lot of parking afforded to the parents looking for parking spaces on back to school night, for example, in the middle of August in Atlanta. And maybe it's hot and maybe they're late. I don't know. Maybe they're running up a hill trying to keep their dress from getting in the dirt. And then they get into the classroom and I sit down, my daughter sits down, and I'm like, okay, a little late, but no worse for the wear. We did it. We made it. And we look down at the paper in front of Marin, and it says, um, this is a scavenger hunt. Please tell us how many light switches there are in the classroom and how many pencils there are in the teacher's desk, how many pots there are of flowers next to the window, all things that you would have to be up and walking around to know. But I'm not up and walking around because that part of the evening is over. It happened while we were looking for parking. And I was like, oh, I want to die. I want to just pull a lever and fall through the floor. And my daughter looks over at the boy next to her and he says, you can copy off of me.
Ah,
And I was like, okay, first grade's going to be all right. I look up, and the mom sitting with her son Liam is Meredith. And so we became friends. And she'll tell you all about her illustrious career in Hollywood, but she had worked on a show called The Flight Attendant that I had like studied. I loved it so much. I thought it was such a phenomenal um, use of suspense and propulsion and character work. And I really wanted to write a story like that. And I wanted to know how she did it. And so I played it as cool as I possibly could. And we were friends for a year. And I had an idea for a story come to me. Um, and so I started outlining it. I started writing chapters. I started doing the things that I always do when I have an idea, which is write in secret, tell no one, suffer in silence. And it was around that time that I was turning 40. And I started to worry that I would never write a book. And so I started saying it out loud that I wanted to write a book. And that was sort of the first step. And finally, I approached Meredith with the idea and said, I don't know if you'd want to write a book with me, but I know she knows how to finish a story, right? And so maybe she can help me do that. And I will then pass it over to Meredith to catch you up to her part of the story and how she reaches me in that meet cute. But that's my piece of it. Is the music loud or is it okay?
No, you're good.
hear
We
it.
can't hear
I'm
it at
gonna
all.
I'm gonna stay off mute then just so that I can
Yeah,
interact.
you're
But if
fine. You're
it
good.
gets too thrilling over here, if we're having too much fun, I can turn it down.
We like fun.
Yeah, fun is good, right? Fun's the way to be. So yeah, so I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and went to college out east, and then ended up in California. My older brother is also a screenwriter. Didn't think I was following in his footsteps at the time that I went to LA. I was a opera singer, musical theater performer. I was on the other side of the camera, of all things, and thought that's what I was going to do. And in for a longer story for another day, kind of fell backwards into writing television with a partner in LA who I've been writing with for the past 2 decades, which is crazy. And we have had a lot of fun. We have endured a couple of strikes. It's been really crazy. During the pandemic, my husband and I decided to be those people who like bought a house on the internet sight unseen, and left LA and moved to Atlanta. It was nuts. My husband's Canadian. He had never been to Georgia. We owned a house. But anyway, that where that landed us and what it netted us was meeting Kendall in that
The whole
on
reason
that
I
back
did
to
it.
school night. That's the whole reason I did it was to meet Kendall. Arguably, I'm sure there are people out there that would say the universe was conspiring. So met Kendall, and she had thrown this idea at me right around the time that I got put out on the strike line for the second time in my career in 2023. And she pitched this idea to me, and I like to say it was like in a very dark part of my career. It was like she handed me a plate of sunshine walking around Chastain Park. And my brain started firing very quickly on the idea. I hear a lot of pitches. I get pitched a lot of things, and then I get pitched a lot of books, and I get pitched a lot of to adapt, and I get pitched a lot of in a writer's room. I get pitched a lot of ideas for an episode, and the great ones are the ones that make your brain just start going like, oh, I know exactly what to do this. I know exactly what to do with this idea. I know how to make it go this way or that way, or it could be orange, it could be green. They both work for different reasons, as opposed to the ideas that kind of land with a thud. So Kendall pitched kind of the trappings of this idea, which it was quick and easy to say yes when she said, "Hey, would you be willing to do this with me?" I said, "Absolutely." And so we spent the summer of 23 writing this book, and we came out into the fall with a manuscript, and then we were kind of like, "Okay, now what?" And we took that manuscript. The agent that had represented me in television for years, turns out to the beginning of his career was he was a book to film agent, which means that he read a lot of books trying to figure out how to make them be TV and movies and TV shows. And he said, "Well, can I read it?" And I said, "Sure," assuming that he wouldn't. And like less than a week later, he called back and he's like, "I love this and I know exactly what to do with it." And so he put it into the hands of one of his colleagues, who is now our agent. And that was in November. And in January, it sold. So it was kind of we were on a rocket ship we didn't know we were on. That's not super typical for books, but it just was a wonderful confluence of like right idea, right team to do it, right team behind it, and then the right publisher who looked at it and said, we can do something with this. So it's been a truly magical experience. And I do still write TV. I haven't abandoned that career entirely. Hollywood's a tricky place right now, but I haven't abandoned it completely yet. We'll see. But I do still write TV as well. So
While we're on the topic, do you prefer TV or book writing?
I will never pick. They're very, 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 very different mediums. One is you are confined to 40 to 45 minutes and 50 to 55 pages. And the other is write what your heart wants to write, and then an editor will help you pare it down. At the time that this was presented to me, it was incredible because I had been only confined to those pages in that time frame. So I think for me, it was extraordinary to have the handcuffs cut off a little bit and just kind of be able to write prose. So,
Before we dive into the book, I was messaging with, I'm not sure which one because your Instagram is together, Kendall or Meredith Kendall, this afternoon about the format of our book club. And she asked if we all know each other. And surprisingly, no one really does. Um,
cool.
a
So
lot of a
fun.
few of these faces come regularly to our book club. Some drop in here and there depending on what book we're reading. So no one is really like personal life friends. They all somehow have a connection to me or someone I know, which is how they've found out about the book club. But I told her that we would do a little quick intro so they kind of get an idea of who they're speaking to.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
So if you guys can all just like share your name and maybe like where you're at. I think a lot of us are in Miami today. We have a few that are not from Miami and are reading but couldn't make it today. And maybe like your profession or something. I'll start. My name is Michelle. I started this book club in 2020 during the pandemic. I've always sort of had a book club with some friends. One of them is on here. I think she must have jumped off the other, another Michelle. And people kind of struggled along, and I was always getting asked for book recommendations or what was I reading, and I would put reviews on our website, and it kind of just sparked with Emily Giffen book because she was doing a giveaway for a virtual
Yep.
book club discussion, and she was our first one. And
So
Wow.
cool.
I think
And
we,
another Atlanta author.
yes, like we love her. And that, I mean, during the pandemic, no one had anything to do, so I think we had like 40 people
Yeah, totally.
online.
It's awesome.
It's kind of straggled off since life has begun and people are taking care of their children and after school sports or whatnot. I'm also a writer. Wrote for a travel magazine for the last few years, and now I'm working for our university at FIU doing some communications and writing there.
I went to Barry University for a
Oh,
year,
I
so
wanted to go to Barry University.
I rode crew for their crew team.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah,
My family wanted me to stay a little closer because the drive was long and I was young, so FIU
I
it was.
understand.
Okay, so Lexi, we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Alexis. I'm a speech pathologist. I work at a big hospital down here in Miami. I've been an avid reader since I could read. I joined this book club during the pandemic. I wasn't around for the first meeting, but I think I came for the second one, and I've been hooked ever since. I love the books that Michelle picks and being able to just communicate with like-minded people, talk about books, and I love that we meet online because it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been invited to other book clubs that they're like, oh, we're gonna meet on this day at this house. And
Good.
I'm like,
Ugh, so many
No.
steps.
it's hard. It's hard. I mean, I don't even have kids. I don't know how people with kids do it, but like it's hard to like, squeeze stuff in. Even though we did meet in person in July and I loved it. Like we didn't really talk about any books, but like we met at Books and Books and we just all like got to know each other and that was really fun. So I hope we do more of that. But I love that we can just hop online and talk about books.
Yeah. I
And
love
I'm really
that.
excited to talk about this book because it takes place in Florida and like my aunt lives in Winter Garden. My mom lives in like up by Claremont. So I've been
Okay.
through Winter Park and I love the visuals and all of that. And I really, really enjoyed the book. So I'm excited to talk to you all about it.
Yay.
One of the
Thank
reasons
you.
we recorded is because some people don't make it and they could read, and you'd be surprised how many times we get the message like, "Why isn't the recording up?" And it's like the next morning. I'm like, "It's
Oh, that's cool. That's
Hello
great.
to the people watching later. Hello from the past. We hope the future's beautiful.
And I have to shout out my love for CCCSLP. I love you. I'm like we've had two speech paths that have helped save my son. So thank you.
Aw.
I
Oh,
love what you do.
thank you. Thank you.
Adria, welcome back."
Thank you. Happy to be back. My name is Audria. I am also based in Miami, and I am an avid reader, kind of writer adjacent career as well. I started off as a lifestyle travel journalist and found my way into philanthropy. And now I do that. I also worked for a science center here in Miami. I now work for a children's health system. So that's really funny.
You got to write a book now, Adria. Like, I'm sorry, but this is
That's
the
your
path
next
you're on.
step.
So this was a great book. Being in the world of philanthropy, it also was like kind of, saw a lot of similarities in the type of
Mhm.
people I run into as well. So that was fun. Yeah, I've loved this book club. I joined during the pandemic when I had my first baby and was in the throes of, being isolated and a new mom, and it was really a lifeline. And I had my second baby now, and I'm so happy to be back. So I've kind of like come in and out as like time has allowed, but it really is a lifeline. I love it. Reading is very therapeutic for me, so I'm happy to be here.
Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny. Michelle and I have known each other since high school, so I love popping in and supporting her and doing, book club when it's great books that I read. I'm a large scale event producer, so I do big conferences, big galas, things like
Yep.
that. And so reading is where I turn off my brain. I'm actually on book 41 of this year. I read 51
Woohoo!
last year,
Wow.
so I'm trying to get to at least 52 and beat last year's record. So yeah, I love reading a lot. It's, again, where I turn off my brain. And my stepkids actually live in Atlanta, so I'm up there a lot. Very familiar with the area. Very happy you
Amazing.
both are here today.
Thank you.
You can compete with Lexi. She's like on book 54, 50.
I'm on currently
Trying. I'm
55
trying to
right
get there.
now. 45, 45.
Alexandra.
So weird to hear you call
You're
me
weird.
out.
Yes, that was weird. Allie. Because I'm
Allie.
like reading the names.
Hi, I'm Allie. Michelle and I were coworkers for a long time, now just friends. Um, but yeah, been around since day one. And funny enough, I'm actually traveling to Orlando on Saturday for work. Um, so I'll be at the lovely Gaylord, also probably listening to music in the, hallways.
I'll be a few miles away at the Ritz-Carlton.
Much nicer location.
No, I was at I visited the Gaylord. My brother stayed there. The pool
Yeah.
is so cool. And it's like if somebody put a mall in like a
Yeah.
hotel, it's so
Yeah,
expansive.
there's like a
So
boat
much
in the
to do.
middle and like
Yes,
a
it's
lake. Yeah.
phenomenal. There's an alligator like enclosure. I mean, it's really
Yeah.
special.
It's a cool hotel. You know what? It's a cool hotel. There's always
Yeah.
usually like cheerleading competitions and like very weird, always something weird going on there. But
That athletic
um,
center down by Disney's got to get filled, right?
yeah,
Orlando loves a weird sports competition. I
yeah.
was at someone's house and we were watching like cornhole is a professional sport now. There
Yeah.
was like
Oh,
there
big
was a
time.
cornhole off happening at Wide World of Sports that day, and I was like, man, they are behind this athletic scene and making everything to a profitable
Yeah.
sport.
Yeah, there's always something weird going on there. So I'm excited to see what unique other thing is going on while I'm there for my trade show. And I actually used to live in LA and work in entertainment. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Awesome.
no longer work in entertainment anymore. 'Cause, it does that to people.
It does that to lots of people.
And yeah, so that's it. I work in marketing, for a tech company, do trade shows and stuff like that. So
So
yeah.
cool.
I'm going to call out our recent add-on, Jenna, because she joined us through Allie, actually.
Perfect, because I was about to say I have to go back off camera a second while I drive. So apparently it's Orlando weekend because I'm also near there and near like the villages in Wildwood. So we're all very close to each other. I have been around maybe since the beginning because I feel like I remember the Emily
Yeah.
one or maybe right after. But yeah, this is really great. Like Lex said, it's really convenient that it's online because I'm traveling for work right now and I can still join. So it's really nice to be able to participate. And thank you guys for joining because I love the sessions that have the authors. It makes it that much better. So really, really appreciate your guys' time to join us.
Thank you for having us.
Now we have some new faces, and I know some of them are friends with the authors. So I'll start with, I'm sorry I'm going to say your handle, but geriatric millennial.
Unmute. Yes, hi. My name is Laura Hodge, and Kendall and I have been actually, she was one of the first people I think I started knowing from church. And then when I first went and switched from one county school to another county school, she was like the first friend I had at the new school. And so then that was 10th grade year. And Kendall also lived down the street. And so we were literally around the corner neighbors. And so then Kendall and I, she said already that we road crew together. There was a trio of us. One can't be here tonight, but there was a trio of us, and we rode, and we were fabulous. It was just amazing, and we knew the nice part was, and I've caught back up with Kendall is, um, when you know somebody loves to do something when they were a kid and when they were young, and that you knew secretly she would write. I'm like, we knew all of this. Like, we knew we were in her bedroom. We were like, oh, what, we're watching Biodome on repeat, and we're watching all of these hilarious movies that we can probably still quote, and I still quote them to my children. And so we knew that. And then to see her accomplish this and have such a whirlwind around it is so amazing. Just to watch that come full circle and be around. So I'm glad that I get to hop on here. I'm not in Orlando. I used to be. I am in Wisconsin. I am probably the furthest one away from all of you guys.
Go Wisconsin!
So I am outside of Milwaukee, and I grew up, like I said, grew up in Florida, but after I graduated from Florida State, I decided that we moved up to Wisconsin, and then we've kind of traveled here and there, Texas, California, and then landed back up in Wisconsin. Right after COVID, we sold our house. We're trying to really kind of find what we wanted to do for our family and what our family needed, and really tried to focus on that since my husband's job allowed him to work remotely. We didn't have to stay in a place we didn't really want to. And we really liked the pumpkin patches and the apple orchards and the corn mazes that Texas did not offer. They are very dry there. So, but I'm so glad to be able to celebrate the book and talk to you guys all about it, because it was definitely fun to read the book and then try to, all the different things that Kendall talks about in the book. The Racket Club, well, that's where my parents got married, or my dad and my stepmom got married. Interlocking Country Club, well, my grandparents were one of the founding members. So the, church she's probably talking about in there is the church we went to church with. Park Avenue is where we walked down and had our homecoming parades, and we were hanging off the trailer in our unisuits on down Park Avenue. So these are all things that I got to see. Fiddler's Green, go to get drinks, all these different things in the book, bringing them up. It was just amazing to have that connection. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it too, because it was nice to see those connections. So, okay, I'm gonna go back on mute.
Michelle, thank you for being a more the merrier group and letting us bring friends.
Yeah. Oh, of course, we love it. I mean, like, all are welcome if you want to continue coming. Like, our book club is open to any and everyone. The
So
ages
nice.
fluctuate. We have some older members that drop in every now and then. So we're all over the spectrum. Michelle, your turn. You're on mute. Not working. We'll come back to you. And Katie Anderson, I think she might be one of our just listening in, but if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. Well, I just have to say, first of all, thank you for sending me the Zoom. My name's Katie Vogel Anderson, and I found you on Instagram because I follow Meredith and Kendall.
Oh,
Love the
thank
book.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
so I
you.
was thrilled that there was a Zoom option, and today, Michelle, I joined your book club.
Oh,
So
thank you.
I'm a pharmacist. I am in Gainesville, Florida, and I work at the
Go
University of Florida.
Gators.
Yeah, go Gators. But I have to say, I also went to Florida State for undergrad, but we'll talk about that
That's
another
complicated,
time.
Katie.
It is complicated. But I work at the University of Florida College of Pharmacy. I'm on faculty there and I teach. And so my loyalty has sort of shifted. I'm sorry to my Florida State friends. But anyway, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to come. I'm on my phone and I don't know how to turn on the video. So
It's
I'm like a
okay.
geriatric Gen X. So I'm really sorry. But I'm thrilled to be here and I absolutely love the book. And I have to say, I was so heartened when I read the shout out to Rifle Paper Company because Rifle Paper Company in Winter Park is a must stop every time I'm in Orlando. So thank you all. Thanks, Michelle, for organizing this.
No
And
problem. If you want to ask a question, since I can't see you, just send me a message in the chat and I'll call on you.
okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Okay, Michelle, I see you're off mute.
I figured it out.
Yeah, we were rooting for you.
My daughter's laughing because usually I'm on my iPad and I couldn't get on here. So I had to go figure it out on my phone as well. And she knows I'm technically challenged. So yay for me that I figured it out, right,
Yay.
Al? So Allie has invited me on to some of these book clubs, and I used to read a lot, and I had stopped reading for a very, very long time. Life gets in the way, but I'm excited now that I'm reading, and I've started reading a lot. So I get excited listening, actually audio version in my car because I drive a lot, and as soon as I get done with one book, I want to go to the next book. And then I was actually reading another book, reading the pages and also audio, two books at one time. And then Allie told me about this book, and I'm like, oh, I gotta stop those and start this one, and then put those on hold and finish this one before she even finished it,
Oh
right?
boy.
And then we were playing, back and forth because she lost her Kindle and she had to go on to our Amazon account and go ahead of me. It was a big mess. But anyway, we both got through the book. I'm happy to be here. Just a little tidbit about Allie. Allie has, I think, had a book in her hand in the womb. This child would go out for dinner and be reading books.
Oh,
So she's been a book lover since she's like a little one. So I'm glad that she continues to do that.
that's
And thank you
Ali.
for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Ali, that's your mom, right?
Yes.
Thanks for
Awesome.
coming.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have some questions about like your writing process before we get into like the actual story, which this is my personally favorite part. Can you tell us a little bit about how this worked out for you with two authors and what was like your writing process like throughout?
Yeah, I think we were both predisposed to collaboration because of our backgrounds in a corporate writing setting. You're always, you know, handing something over so that someone can put their polish on it, especially ghostwriting for executives. And Meredith's experience is the same, where she's in a writer's room and ideas are molded and kind of refined through that collaborative process. So we meet on Zoom a lot, or we will use Google Docs, which I need to be better about saying. We use a collaborative tool, documents where you can see somebody in the document and work alongside them. So sometimes it'll be like pulling a chapter out and writing by yourself and then passing it over, or sometimes we're both in the document all together. Inevitably, we're in the document all together, especially for things like copy editing. So pretty seamless. COVID helped make us smarter about collaboration.
Yes, it did. True story.
Where did the idea for this story come about?
I had the idea really on the heels of the Murdoch murders. I think captured all of our imaginations watching that crime story, true crime story unfold in South Carolina. Is everyone familiar with that story? And how one seemingly tragic moment reveals an entire community and actually years of consequences and tragic moments and difficult decisions and corrupt decisions. It was really fascinating to hear and see that happen. And I couldn't stop imagining what would happen in my hometown if something like that happened. And that was sort of the first spark. But I also love the idea of choosing a character that you may not expect to root for. And I don't think, as women in particular, we're giving much grace to second wives or younger second wives. Like on a broader scale, I think socially, we tend to look at that person and think they've made a choice I might not be able to relate to. And I wanted to explore the point of view of that person. Meredith and I, when we talked about it, we were like, we're not going to do, victim shaming like content. We're not going to do victim exploitative content. Like women so often are put in the situation of being like the damsel in distress. And we didn't want for this to feel like that, but we did want to look at somebody who had made a choice that might not be something people can identify with on in a larger swath of people, and really explore like, why would someone do that, and why would they make that choice, and how can you find empathy for that choice? And so those two things really motivated first me, and then Meredith when she agreed to get on board to tell the story.
Yep.
How long was the writing process from concept to publishing?
Kendall shared a document with me in June. We had our first full draft by Labor Day, which was exceptionally fast. There were two of us working on it. And then it went to my TV agent in October. It went to our literary agent in November, and then it sold in January. So like I said, that it's a very unusual process than most books. This one just kind of was lightning in a bottle and had heat and found its way through the system. So I think that it was unique. Without spoiling a spoiler, the second book has not gone as fast just because it can't, because you're in the guts of the first thing while you're doing the second thing, and you're getting through copy edits and you're trying to do the new thing, and then and then the book comes out and you're trying to do the new thing, and so it was an incredibly unique window of time that we were able to kind of hammer through the first one, and now we'll keep finding our footing as we go forward, how to do this. So
well, that's one of my last questions, but since you hit it, what's coming next for you? I guess there's another book.
Yeah.
Yes, we sold this as a series. Well, we sold it as what our agent calls a constellation of characters. So we'd love to write a second, a third, a
10th,
fourth.
a 12th.
Yes, but we've definitely already handed in the second to our editor for Red Lines. So it will stay in Winter Park. Our same friends will all be there, but we will move to a new character's point of view. So about a year after Nora has had her, everyone's read the book, right?
Yeah.
We just did candidly like 11 appearances in Orlando, and it was always like a mixed crowd of people that had read it, and so we would try to be really delicate with our words. But so a year after
allowed here. I told you today.
Yeah, okay. A year after Will has died, Nora is kind of picking up the pieces of her life, and we shift to Estee's point of view, and we get to learn more about Estee and Bo and their life in California. And I'll say I think we found some really fun new twists and turns, new tropes, and new challenges.
Estee was one of my favorite characters, so I'm excited.
Yay! Yeah,
we like to say everyone should have an Estee.
Yes, yeah. I think there'll be more details as far as title reveal and cover coming in October.
That's awesome. I'm like, this is so fast for you guys.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes, we're running as fast as we can. We don't want to leave. We want to stay as long as they'll have us, so we'll just keep running.
I don't think any of the authors we've had in the past 5 years have done it like such a quick turnaround.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, the idea would be, if we're lucky enough, we'll keep doing it in that pattern where we would show up every summer with a book to read, as long as they'll let us do it. So
it's fantastic.
For now, it's next summer for sure.
Congrats for being a Jenna Book Club pick among that.
Oh, thank you.
Last case reveal.
Yeah, it was obviously an incredible honor, and she is remarkable, and she picks her books, she reads her books, she is a voracious reader, much like her mother and her grandmother. And she is, yeah, she's great and wonderful. And the fact that the work that she is doing to support authors and to shine light on storytelling and storytellers is extraordinary. And I think Kendall and I both are just very grateful that she read this book and loved it and picked it.
I love her.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. She's exactly who you think she is, and that's not a veneer. That is who she is. It's awesome.
What is your favorite time to write or place to write?
I think this answer is, well, we both have the commonality that we're both in our office most often.
Where I am right now. You're looking at it.
I'm not here. There's not music when I'm writing. That's not really conducive to the process. But I think because I built a lot of muscle memory around nights and weekends, because that was when I could write, when I was working full time, that tends to be when I have the most muscle memory to be productive. I sometimes, that varies, right? But Meredith, because of her experience as a mom and a working mom and somebody who works with California not being online until noon, she does a lot of her work after drop off and in the morning.
Yeah. I have to fresh brain it. If I'm doing that kind of writing, it's got to be like early. By 7 o'clock, I'm toast.
Well, first, how much research goes into your writing?
This one I did a lot of research for.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
one
we're lucky.
felt...
I was going to say, but I'll say we were lucky because Kendall grew up in this town. And so there's a certain amount of like innateness that was in the storytelling because of what she knew. But then you go and say what you're going to say, Kendall.
I think that's true, but I haven't lived in Winter Park for
a long time.
Years.
Yeah.
And so there's this extra layer of like, I think that's how I remember it. Is that how I remember it? Is that what that looked like? So like I Google a lot of my own memories almost to be like, is Fairbanks that drag that I think that Lombardi's moved? And I was like, well, I've got to figure out where that is. So, you know, and good for them, their new space, by the way. I missed the mural, but I researched the history of the train tracks, and like there used to be a whole download of like how the train in Central Park became this central meeting point for people because a lot of snowbirds would come down. And so then there was a general store. And like, by the time it got to edits, our editor was like, no, we get it. We get it. It's okay.
We can cut that part.
It's all right.
You wanted to be precise.
Because I don't need Winter Park to think that I misunderstood. Like I would never intentionally misrepresent them. You know, I think it's obviously a work of fiction. We certainly had people ask us when we were in Winter Park, "Am I in it? Is this me?" And it's like, well, no, because I don't know you well enough, and also that I would never do that. But
I kind of wanted to ask that same question, though. That was my question on here. It's like, okay, wait a second. Who were these? I'm like, okay, which family is this? Like, which would the lawyers be? No, I know.
That is literally my next question. Were any of them based on real people?
I don't mean to steal your thunder. Yeah, no. I think there are archetypes of women everywhere. There are insiders and outsiders. There are rules. That's how we as a community of humans get along, right? And sociologists could point to the reasons why, but you know, the levers for who fits in and who doesn't they may change, but the behaviors tend to centralize in even all mammals, right? I think Nora and her outlook of this community is what I would expect a 28-year-old who marries somebody 15 years her senior and is completely other. It's what I would expect she would see from these people. And so there are moments when it feels heightened. There are moments when it feels like she is kind of pointing at the other women in the community and saying, I would fit in if you weren't so this, or if you weren't so that. But I think anytime we as people get to that place and everyone else is the problem, that's probably not the whole story, right? You probably need to do a little bit of work to find empathy in the people that you're working with or the people that you're running into. So she certainly has her opinions of Winter Park. We were somewhere earlier this week and somebody said, everyone has a different outlook in the book about Winter Park. Who's right? And I was like, oh, there's definitely a wrong answer to this question, but I don't want to give that answer. And I think no one is Winter Park is not just one thing. And so no one is experiencing it as just one thing. And there is no community that I know of where it's like, oh, it's this simple, it's this reductive, it's this, two-dimensional. And so we heightened some things, we explored some things. Some things feel real and some things feel like they're fiction because it's a work of fiction.
Who is your favorite character in the book, and who do you relate to the most?
Oh,
That's a different question. Normally you go, who do you love to write? And the answer is Esty. But favorite character in the book, that's new.
We love all of them. Like
that's the thing.
Not to sound like a mom.
They're like our babies.
I'm one of four, and we'd always be like, "Who's your favorite?" And she'd be like, "Well, I love you all the same." And we were like, "That's not an answer." But I think we tried to love them all. Like, I think Constance, I understand why she feels the anger that she does. I was talking to a friend about it actually this morning, and he was like, after all this time, can't she just let it go? And I'm thinking, well, no, like this is the life she built, and Will moved her out of that house. And sure, he bought her a new one, but he can't stop choosing his choice. He is, and I understand why, right? Like he's run as fast as he could on this treadmill to get where he's going. And I understand why Fritz doesn't see the forest for the trees a lot of the time and is expecting things to fall into his lap. So we love them all.
Yeah. They each get to tell a different piece of the story, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, and it's who doesn't love the ride or die best friend, but also who doesn't love the 28-year-old at the center, the heroine, who doesn't love the hot chef, and who doesn't love the hapless Perry who comes to town just trying to figure out what happened to Dean. And so I think it's like they're all lovable for very different reasons. But I think it's hard. It's, in this case, we also have gotten a lot of questions of is there anyone you hated writing? We're like, actually, no. And maybe some authors have that, but we really didn't. I think Kendall and I are the kind of people/writers that if we hated a character, we'd be like, we probably don't need this one. This one's not good. This one's a dud. We're out.
Who did you relate to the most?
Oh. I think not probably Constance, Esty, and Nora each at different moments, but a little bit Gianna too. Like I can understand working so hard to build a life and wanting to do everything you can to hold on to it. I wouldn't make the choice that she made, but I relate to feeling like it can be really precarious, right? Like life can turn on a dime. I think my husband is a trial attorney and he's alive and well. I'm very happy to report. But there are times when he's in trial and I feel a little bit like a Constance. And I relate to Nora wanting to be able to make art and being afraid to do that.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I similar for me. I think there's a little bit of all the female characters that I relate to. And then I think even some of the male characters I can relate to, having been a sister to a brother. My 5 best friends from high school are boys. I think even in the male characters, there's some trappings of people I know. And again, no one is anyone specifically, but just trappings of. So
I personally was not a fan of Constance, but I did love her scene with the wine closet. That was
yeah.
I also like that all the female characters that you wrote all had some kind of positive to them. Like there was nobody that you generally weren't rooting for. One of the things for our book club is that we only select books written by female authors.
Oh, I love that.
Cool.
And we try to select books that have strong female leads. And this one had a cast of strong women. So that was great. I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, we feel like there was something that was intentional, to find the picture how hopeful Constance must have been at the beginning of this. And it breaks my heart that it didn't go the way that she wanted it to. Nora can't stop choosing her choice either, right? And you really want to rip her, not rip her, but grab her by the shoulders every now and then and kind of shake her and be like Essie does, come on, man, if you don't pay attention, people are going to start railroading you into the ground. So I think, yeah, we found a way to, I hope, put a little bit of empathy in all of their stories.
And my last general question before we get into the actual story, was there any purpose that you wanted to fulfill when you set out to write this?
I wanted to finish a book.
Yeah, just write a book.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the magic.
Before we ask the author, did anybody, this is for the whole group, figure out who the killer was?
Wow.
Nobody?
Good.
Not till like the
Cool.
very end where like um Nora comes back from the police station and she confronts oh my God, I read it like a while ago already. I already forgot the
Fritz,
character's name.
when she confronts Fritz.
Yes, yes. And he's like, "What do you mean I didn't kill him?" And then I was like, maybe it was his wife.
I thought it was him a lot.
But
Yeah.
it was still a question. So I was still surprised when it was like true. I was like, oh my God.
I thought it was him, but then I was like, why would they make him so unlikable if it was him? Because it kind of
Yes.
sort of points
Yeah.
towards him.
Yeah.
At one point, like I suspected everybody. At one point, I was like, "Oh my God, if it was the daughter, I will cry." Like this
We've
is
heard
so
that.
sad.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
We
that
heard
for
that
a little moment.
recently.
This wasn't that book.
No, this is not that book.
I went another way and I thought he's faking it to set somebody up and he has the daughter involved.
Yeah.
in the whole
There was
thing.
one
Yeah,
point where I
that-
was hoping he was still alive. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh
We got
man, they
that
found his
too. We got
body."
that from a couple
No.
people. They're like, nah, he's still out there. He's hiding.
Yeah.
And I think there was a at one point I texted Meredith and I was like, should he die? And I think there would have been a play for that if um the last thing he told me hadn't just come out. There didn't feel like a way to do that didn't feel like it had been done.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to yeah.
Be different.
Yeah.
I think it was well done too because you didn't give us enough time to really like or hate Will. Like you kind of are like,
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Will is
Like,
a great Rorschach. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried it was going to be Esty, and so I'm so glad that it wasn't because she
Yep.
was like great the whole time. I'm like, don't turn out to be bad.
Yeah, Allie, I love that you say it like that because we've heard that too, and we've heard it said exactly like that. I was so worried it was going to be Esty because I think people really want to believe in that
friendship,
kind of a gritty friendship. Yeah.
I think we're gonna have a huge following for her book.
Yeah.
Also, as someone with a Taylor Swift sweatshirt,
yeah!
I relate to the daughter very much.
Yeah.
I was really happy when it was somebody that like we didn't like. Like we already knew we didn't like that character.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Jenny's comment kind of led into my next question. Nora and Will's relationship changed so much from when they first met through when they were settling into their everyday routine. Why did you choose to portray him in such a workaholic way who ignored his wife? I really hated that part. I personally wanted to hate him so many times, but then he didn't seem bad enough to hate.
I think Will, like, these are all people that are undone by their choices and they can't stop choosing their choices. And I think Will, his marriage to Constance was probably the same marriage that Nora's experiencing. And he doesn't know that. He just doesn't want to have a fight. He doesn't like to fight. He fights in the courtroom all day. And fighting in a courtroom as somebody who's married to a trial attorney is a very different thing than fighting with someone you love. When you go to fight in a courtroom, you're bringing facts, you're bringing logic. There's a lot of strategy that goes into that. And so it becomes almost this practical, objective thing. And fighting with someone you love is not objective all the time. And I think he really shies away from that, and not doing that work means that he is kind of doomed to repeat his mistakes. And in the case of Nora, she thinks she's getting a man in finance, 6'5", blue eyes, right? Like he is the thing that at some point in our lives we've all been told to idolize and to strive to find, an older man with a lot of money. And I think we wanted to tell the next part of that story, because what happens for Nora is that she moves into someone else's life. And so instead of having her own life, she has a lot of life ahead of her at 28. She decides to kind of slot herself into his world. And we wanted to look at that from the lens of like, why would she choose that? And then what happens when you don't own any of the things that you are surrounded by? You didn't choose these choices, but you are responsible for the consequences.
If he had lived, do you think they would have worked out their marriage?
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
And I think we say it in the epilogue. She's like, I don't know if it would have worked, but I think we've all had moments in our lives like that. Like, I don't know if that would have been different, but it just wasn't. Like,
right.
I think Marcus,
it gets to be the unanswered question, right? In the best way possible, because you can't answer it because of how it ends.
Yeah.
With them, I think it's the question. It's the scratch you never get to itch, but like, nope, the itch you never get to scratch. We'll get there. It's late. No, but I think that's the beauty of the thing is like, it put that to any unanswered question in your life. And sometimes the answer is you don't get to answer it. And I think I love leaving them in that space because I think it gives the hopeful person the hope and it gives the cynical person the cynicism. And I think that's okay. Like that's the beautiful thing about literature, right? Is you get to pick what side you want to be on.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question to you guys, but I also want to open it up to the novel's full of characters who put on a facade from Nora to Fritz and even the secondary people. They present themselves differently than who they truly are. What do these facades reveal about the pressures of society?
I mean, she's the fish out of water, right? Like Nora, I think, is the pressure that anyone feels anytime you're in a setting that you don't know, you don't think you belong, you don't know the absolute outcome of, right? So I think she's kind of easy, like she's the low hanging fruit to answer that question in some ways because she's the true absolute fish out of water, and that can be go ahead.
They all reveal the sort of shorthand that we develop for bias, like second wife, younger, older man. I know what that is, right? Like our brains kind of default to a bias about each other. And we wanted to explore that. And I think that's why there's so many times when you're like, oh, it's definitely that person. That person did it. So I'd love to hear everyone else's answer though.
Anyone?
We nailed it.
Anyone relate to these societal pressures?
I see Jennifer coming off mute.
I was just gonna say, I think Nora was trying to be the anti-Constance. Like she was trying to be everything that she wasn't.
Totally.
And so like not only the pressures of like society and everything else, but like stepping into that role and like not wanting to, get mad at him for working late and things like that. She wanted to be the exact opposite. And I'm a second wife, so I understand that from like her perspective, as well.
Totally.
The better version.
We all fall into that trap too, right? Like I know you said you don't like this, and so I used to have a boss that worked for Coca-Cola, and there was a really difficult executive, and he walked through the hall and he's like, I love these gray curtains. And this man didn't like anything. And so my boss would call it the gray curtain effect. Like suddenly everything was gray curtain. Like, how do we find the magic of this gray curtain and amplify it around the world? And I feel like Nora's a little bit doing that. She's like, he liked me when I was fun. And so should I just be fun? How do I keep doing that for him? And she misses out on what she wants and what she's feeling because she just wants to hold it all as tight as she can.
Anybody else? I agree with the societal pressures though. Like everyone's trying to portray their family as like, whether they had money or not, as like the perfect family. Even her with like her relationship with her mom, like she doesn't really want to deal with it. She doesn't really want to talk about it with her friends, like the troubles they're having, but the relationship isn't great. Esty and Bo too. Like everybody's trying to portray like this perfect little family and home life when everyone had like internal conflicts or relationship problems going on.
Yep, I think that's right. I think it's like, but that isn't that the Instagram world just that we live in, like where it's like everything's great and fabulous on the surface, and then what's beneath it is nobody's business.
I think the character of Autumn embodied that as well. Like she saw the kind of ugly side of a lot of these families, and in a lot of ways she was put between a rock and a hard place because it's her livelihood if she speaks out against it. And I thought that was really relatable as well. Sometimes people look the other way because, you don't want to risk a relationship or your job or things like that.
Totally. Yep. She is the ultimate secret keeper of Winter Park. And I love like that she says it. She's like, I know everything about everyone. But this is what I do and how I make my living. Right. So agree.
Audrey, you can tell you work in nonprofit. I worked in nonprofit many years ago, so I get it.
I had a question earlier. Sorry, I couldn't unmute. But when you were talking about the different people who you thought, why did you guys do it that he said to Nora that it was his daughter calling about the sweatshirt? Like, why make that whole Meredith has an answer for sure.
Yeah, I do. No, I know exactly right. So she's asking, like, why did he lie to Nora in the night of the party? Why did he say it was Mia calling?
Right.
And I think we say it a little bit later, but essentially, it's like Will was happy to fight in the courtroom. Will did not want to fight anywhere else in his life, and he knew in that moment he has his wife on the line for playtime, and it's Gianna calling, and he knows how Nora feels about
Oh,
Gianna.
yes. You know what?
And
Sorry, I did.
so if you have
Yeah.
the moment where
And
it's
he's
like, what does he say? If he says it's Gianna, she'd be like, fuck her.
Whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
no. Like, and then by the way, and then probably the moment's over because then she's annoyed that it's her calling. Why is she calling? And now we've diverted from like playtime to like annoyed time. And Will was just like, I know if I just say the thing, I can go do the thing and then do the thing. Right.
not
So
just
like,
that though, like I
yeah.
think they had just, if you follow the timeline of like, they have this raucous fight, then they go away to make up, and now they're in makeup land, right? And he has promised her a different outcome. And
Right. We
he doesn't
get
want,
it
he doesn't
backwards,
want
but
the
yes,
fight.
when you
Like,
think back, like to the whole timeline, right? He wants
yeah,
to keep like on the happy place. Like,
yeah.
you know.
He's
Okay.
trying now to keep the peace in a different way, but he's trying a little too late.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you're going to be able to share my next question, being that the next book is focused on ST, but where was it? And now I lost it. Sorry. Okay. Can you tell us more how you pictured ST's character to be, and what did you like or dislike most about her relationship with Nora?
How Essie was, I'm sorry, pictured to be?
Yeah, like what was your idea of her character? Like the
We
best friend
really
side?
avoided physical descriptions of people because Esty, if you told me Esty is, you know, an ethereal brunette with wavy hair, I'd be like, of course she is. Or if you said to me, like, she is, blonde, I'd be like, yeah, probably. Like, she's whoever you need her to be, whoever you see her as, and that was intentional. What do we like most about her? I wish I had somebody like that who well, I think we do, but I mean, like we all have been in moments in our lives where like you need somebody to love you, um, with like she's really direct, and she's direct in a way that is looking after Nora's feelings all the time. She's never popping off the handle to take Nora down or to punch Nora. She is only ever standing up for her and looking out for her in the most loving way. But it comes across as directness, but it's a precise kind of special love that always comes from a very, very good, respectful, earnest place. And I think that's special.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean like looks wise, but like personality wise. Did you mean her like were you when you were writing her, did you imagine her to be like the sidekick, the loving friend slash
Oh, I think we
motherly
describe her as
figure?
like, I think we describe her as the ethereal, absolutely no fucks to give. I think that like when
Yeah.
we talk about the character, that is who she is. She, opposite of Nora, who has to care so deeply what everybody thinks about her, Esty doesn't care what anybody thinks.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what Esty portrays, right? So like her whole thing is literally like, cool, cool. I'm good, you do you, and I'm gonna do me. So I think that to me is the brilliance of that character is that she gets to do that and be that in this book.
For Nora and Marcus, what was your decision to have them not cross that line? Because I really thought that the sleepover scene was going to go there, and I was glad.
I think Marcus exists in a really precarious place of like, is he a good person if he's like kind of pining for her like this? I think readers would not have liked it. I don't think you wanted it to happen. And I also think for all she needs from Marcus is to have that beat of like, did I sell out? Did I make the wrong choice? And if I had waited a year and I had met this man, what would my life look like? Or if I had done what he did, if I had been backstopped and gone out and made my own life, what would that look like? And so he is, more than anybody else, kind of a unicorn in her life because he doesn't care what anybody else thinks, but he doesn't make a lot of show of it the way that Esty does. And he has like everything he's made, he is his. and he is the most secure person, I think, in the book. But also a little bit questionable because again, like she's married and he should be careful, but he's not.
Yeah. I really like that there wasn't much, and I realized it when I was writing this question, that there wasn't really any cheating or
Yeah.
marital affairs
I
other
mean,
than
there was
like the
with Fritz
slight
and
thing with
Autumn.
Autumn, but it was
Yeah.
like so
Yeah.
Yeah.
minimal that it
Small.
wasn't really a thing. Because I feel like a lot of the books that are in sort of the romance genre, even though this isn't really romance, for characters that are older than their 20s, tend to lead with like an extramarital affair
Yeah.
or tempted to cheat of some kind. And it was surprising that there wasn't really any.
I think there's enough of it in the world, Kendall, and I think we just like to tell a different kind of story and get there a different kind of way, right? And I think there's enough there are plenty of authors out there who do it and do it very well in a compelling fashion, but I think we weren't interested in super dark. We weren't interested in that kind of, relationship twist because I think it's a more interesting twist that like they don't cross the line, right? Because now you wonder, like, what of Marcus and Nora? Like, and that's out there on the horizon if it ever gets taken or not, right? As
So
opposed to
Marcus,
it being like they crossed the line and I don't know how I feel about that because she was married and like,
was that
yeah,
a
these are
conscious
people that are
decision?
holding their choices like really closely, right? Like somebody that just kind of lets it fly and is like, all right, now we're having an affair. That's a little like there's no tension in that because this is somebody that just gives in to whatever's,
Yeah. Was it a
whatever
conscious
when.
decision you went into like not have any, or did it just happen?
it wasn't
I
conscious.
think
I think by nature of our storytelling and how we maneuver, I think both of us just didn't. We went there when it felt right to do it. And it felt right to do it with Fritz and Autumn because there's a tragedy in that. And even Autumn knows it's tragic. And even she gets to live in the shit of that and be like, oh, this, like, I hate the choice that I made, but I made it and it is what it is. So I think that felt merited and like it had a purpose in the story. It didn't just happen to happen, it had a real purpose in the story. So I think that's where we were when we look at stuff like when we look at having characters make choices like that, it has to be for like more than just the choice of that thing. Like I don't know. I think Kendall and I like to tell slightly, even though this has some darkness in it.
We
tell
chose
slightly
our
more.
heightened in different
Yeah,
ways. I think everyone
yeah,
having an affair with everyone else, like that's not really real life. We chose
right.
heightened in the setting and in Winter Park, and there are areas where we took some liberties to make it a little bit more glamorous, and maybe people from Winter Park would say that it is, or a little bit more status obsessed, and people in Winter Park would maybe say that it is. But we chose our heightened elsewhere.
I mean, I think it was good. No, I don't think anyone would have hated Nora because the way she was being treated, you kind of like the minute he came into the picture, I was like, oh, it's going there. But I was glad it never did.
Sometimes life is more complicated by the near misses instead
Yeah.
of the things you do.
For Constance and Nora, what was your decision to make them be cordial and friendly at the end?
I think you want to give the reprieve, right? Like part of this book is unpacking, like like subverting or changing the expectation of the second wife. But I think you have to do the same thing for the first wife, right? Like I think Kendall and I talked a lot about this of like, it's not a full, and now we'll be best friends. Like it's not, but it's just the, you get to the moment where each of them can see each other for who they truly are in the puzzle and they can both look at each other and Nora can appreciate that Constance built the empire and then got pitched out to a different house. And I think that Constance can appreciate that Nora got pulled into it by Will, probably not dissimilar to how she did, and then she had to endure kind of the worst of it, right? So I think they both have like a weird mutual respect for each other. And then the other piece that I think is important is that they both adore Mia, right? And that you can't underestimate that. You can't underestimate the fact that like Nora and Mia forge a real relationship. Obviously, Constance and Mia have a relationship. And I think at a certain point, as women, as a mother, stepmother, whatever that looks like, you have to look at it and say, okay, like we can find our way through this, you know?
Anyone? Happy Wife focuses a lot on money and society. They were almost like characters of their own throughout the novel. How do you think these two things influenced the story? And this is open, like if anybody wants to chime in, not just the authors.
I mean, I think a little bit of it is the heightenedness of it. I think a little bit is like um a story set in just like I'm going to just say it this way, in like middle America about middle Americans. I just don't think
The
it's a
rituals are
great,
different.
the rituals are different. It's a great story to tell, but it's just not kind of what you hold important, what seems day to day the thing is different. So I think this story wanted to live kind of in the more heightened place of ultra wealth and kind of the social politics that come with that, and the social politics that come with new and old guard, all of that. And I think sometimes that comes with new and old money and all of that. So I think that's why we picked it.
I know
I
we're a
will
little.
say that as an event planner, like, oh, people always tell me, oh, it's like so glamorous and everything else. And it's like, we're the ones in the background doing the dirt. And so when you portrayed Autumn like not having kind of that beautiful life that everybody else had, even though she produces like all these parties for them, I was like, this is so like accurate, right? Like
Right.
she's out there like making these grandiose things and like putting them out in society. And at the end, she's going home to a lesser house and she's alone and everything else. And I thought that that was just so like perfect.
Thank you. It's yeah, right. It's like the dreams you build for other people.
I know we're a little bit over our hour.
Yeah.
I have like 2 or 3 more questions and then we can wrap it up if that's okay.
We might have time for one or two. I have I have an appointment at 9, so I just need to make sure that we're getting
Okay, I'll skip to how do you see Nora's future now beyond the prologue?
You'll get to find out.
Oh,
you're gonna find out. But come back next summer.
That's an easy one.
That's an easy one. Do more.
Okay. Gianna's character and her relationship with Fritz was she a suspect in Will's disappearance at any time for you? Like, did anybody, that's not what I meant. Did anybody think that she was a suspect? I did not.
No. I think she was.
Someone said that once Fritz was at like.
Yeah,
at the very end, I thought it could be.
Yeah, Alexis, yes.
I questioned it.
But for us,
they ran out of
authors,
options at that point.
Yeah,
totally.
The island was getting a little unpopulated.
Yeah. For us though, no, we never did because that was a late in the game choice. So,
and this wasn't a question I had prepared from before, but the gem that is found in his autopsy, what is your idea as the writers that how did that really get there?
Oh, in our minds, it's like, you set up the ring or at the opening party, right? She's wearing the ring and she's flashing it around and it's this crazy bobbled ring and whatever. In the tussle down on the dock when she does what she does to him, our imagination was just some version of if her hand got slammed against something and it knocked one of these things loose, and Will forever being the seeker of justice and the knower of truth, realized like he didn't know what was next for him and he was probably in a bad way. And we're imagining all this, right? Just took the opportunity to preserve the evidence. So, yeah, that was the thinking.
With your ties to TV, is there any chance that this might become a series or a movie? Or...
Sure, we'll see. We're fiercely protective of the rights just because I've adapted a lot of books and I can see the good and the bad in that. Yeah. So I think we'll see what time will tell on that. We're open to it. That's the important part. We're open to it, but time will tell.
That's awesome. And a fun question: what are you both reading now? Like, what's on your?
Oh God.
Hold on.
We have a couple of things. Actually, delightfully, we have a few things that have been subbed to us that are manuscripts that are up and coming, which is very fun. That we owe reads on. What was I just reading?
I'm trying to get into Atmosphere, which I've heard takes a beat.
Yeah.
I just read These Summer Storms and I thought it was phenomenal. I read Pretty Liars. I thought it was great. I thought My Friends was great.
Yeah. I sidestepped into nonfiction for a minute in my life just because sometimes I have to read things outside of the scope of what I work in just because I know how the sausage is made. So I just read 2 very interesting books, one called Chatter and one called Shift, both by the same author. And it talks a little bit about like your inner voice and the voices like in your head and where they're good and where they're bad. So it was delightful.
Very cool.
Random.
Anyone in the group?
Sorry, I wish I was like, I just read the new most amazing fiction novel.
I mean, we always get ideas of books to read from what other people are reading. So.
Sure.
Does anybody
Kendall's list is probably more desirable.
anyone wanna ask anything or share anything before I let the authors go? We do take a group photo before, so if you don't mind.
Oh, fun.
I had one
No.
question. I was just wondering, but it doesn't seem like I think I answered my own question. Like it wasn't that one of you wrote like the one part and one because like I know some authors write like
Nope.
one chapter and the other.
No.
It wasn't like that, right?
No.
Okay, so, like from this conversation, I got that it wasn't like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're open to it, we would love to have you back for your next book when it's ready.
Sure.
Oh, that's so sweet, of course.
It's been so fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And before everyone jumps off and we take the photo, I just wanted to announce our next book club pick is an author that we've had before. She actually requested to come again if we would have her, Nikki Ehrlich for The Poppy Fields. So if anybody wants to join us, you're welcome. I put the link in the chat, and that discussion will be on November 5th.
Nice.
Very
I'm
fun.
right now, Michelle. Perfect.
Hi, you just got it?
Literally book 41. That's
I
what I'm
have
reading
it.
now.
I bought it.
And I have no ties to Barnes and Nobles, but I would have to say that their version is beautiful.
Yes, it is. It has the pink pages.
And it has like
that's
beautiful
cool.
artwork inside. I normally am a
and she
Kindle
has,
reader.
like,
wow.
I think I got
That's
one that has
awesome.
her signature on it. I like
that's
pre-ordered
cool.
it because
I'm normally a Kindle person, but I am purchasing that one.
Nice.
Okay, does anybody have like their little book? Everyone's
Oh,
ready?
I love that. Oh, how fun. Did you all?
Okay, I'm gonna take like just in case. One, right? Well, wait. She coming? Hey, you're coming. You can go get it. You want to go get it?
Oh, she's off.
I mean, she's your high school friend. She needs to have it.
She is.
No, it's great.
Oh, this. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. This is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.
I've got a happy wife right there.
Oh, there you go.
I'm like, I have it right here. See?
Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do one more just in case because these are screenshots. Okay. I hate this blur thing. One, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you. So nice to see everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for reading.
Thank you for chatting with us. This was fantastic.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you. Anytime. Have a wonderful day and evening, night tomorrow.
And thanks for all the newbies. You're welcome to join us again. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.